Let's go ahead. People are still trickling in, but all y'all came on time, so let's not waste any more time. Today I have wonderful James here, Cal, and then Amit. Give me a quick second here. I'm just gonna share my screen for the presentation. All right, let's get it. All right, building Manus AI agents for job applications with Capital One PM. Okay. Before we go ahead and get started, there's a link that I popped in. It's called Join the Free AI Product Management WAP Community. A lot of the resources that we will be referencing today uh, is going to be here. As I mentioned before, if you're already part of the program, you don't really need to worry about it. But if you are not a part of the program yet, stick around there. We got some cool stuff for you. We're trying to help as many people as possible. With that said, today's agenda is pretty simple. We have upcoming work. I'm going to give everybody upcoming workshops and meetups. We're going to talk a little bit about the speaker, definitely touch upon some really awesome AI news of the week. I also have some product manager referrals of the week. If you're interested in any of the referrals, please go ahead because these are just a few, but I didn't get a chance to screenshot everybody. And then without further ado, we are going to go ahead and do what we came here to do, which is the Manus AI agent demo. So you guys can go out there and jazz out looking at that. Now, let's go ahead and upcoming workshops. We got a New York product management happy hour and referrals with yours truly. Capital One product manager is going to be there. Our friend here, Amit's also going to go out there and be there. We have an upcoming NYC beginners meetup, a cybersecurity beginners meetup. You guys should definitely come to that if you guys are interested in pivoting your career, possibly cybersecurity product management. Vibe Code, a product manager portfolio website with Capital One product man, which is actually James, is also going to be here. And then also using AI agents to improve customer experience. So I'm going to quickly right now just go ahead and pop in all of the RSVP links. Okay. Right here. We do have a cap on these, so if you guys want to get on that, you guys want to do that right about now. This one here, we're dedicating pretty much the entire month to like AI agents. This is going to be a very big, very, very, very big in your career. Because anything that's going to help the company fire more people at scale is this makes them want you so much more. Okay. That's the name of the game, fam. Squid Games, baby. Who can automate their coworkers first? Okay, referrals of the week. For those of you who are based out here in New York, my man out there, Reza, my dad, is he is actually looking for two product managers. Says, hey, Reg, in case you'd like to share with your network, he has two openings right now for integral ad science in New York, hybrid role. But they always say for a real rock star, they can work remotely. Translation, you do your job. I really don't care where you're at. Okay, so please go ahead, hit me up in the WAP community, the WAP link that I just popped in if you want a referral. And then from our friends that are joining us from the UK, please do not be shy about letting us know you'd like to be referred to. We've actually referred a lot of UK product managers for US roles, but I can't do that unless I know who you are. Okay. Next thing is we have me boss out there in Seattle. Um, don't tell me why, but they did say fluency in Mandarin is an extremely great to have. So if I have any Mandarin speaking product managers right now, and if you got any experience using Little Red Book, I want you to go out there and ping me right now and wow, because they're looking for a product manager. They're looking for a product manager right now. It's got to be in person though. This one, it cannot be remote. It's 5 days a week in the office. Okay. But I have plenty more. Obviously, I could do 2 hours of that, but like I have other postings. AI news of the week. Oh, the Department of War has just announced that they will be integrating Grok into all unclassified and classified networks in the department. Luckily for you, we are getting ready to also integrate Grok into a curriculum for all of y'all. This is going to be hot in all the wrong ways. So if you guys, for those of you guys that are too young to watch, to know what that movie Terminator is, this is kind of how the end begins. Other AI news of the week, Claude co-working just came out, so this is going to be Claude's version of an AI agent. A lot of like we're doing so much with AI right now in terms of like agentic AI. But this is going to be their version of it. We'll have a workshop coming out in a little bit, and the full curriculum is actually dropping in February, which is why you guys want to schedule a call with us ASAP Rocky before we go out there and increase rates again. Other news is Apple picks Sam Altman just can't catch a break. Apple picks Google Gemini over OpenAI for its big Siri upgrade. A lot of like analysts thought that was going to be a sure win. Apparently, it is not. And then let's just go out there and just continue to see how this thing pans out. Paramount right now is suing Warner Brothers. Straight up episode of Succession. But get into what, let us know if you want to. I have more referrals over there. But for starters, James, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, everybody. I'm James. For most of you that have joined previous webinars, I'm sure you guys have seen me. I am currently a product manager over at Capital One, working for their largest revenue driving department organization called CarTech, where we are building and modernizing the decisioning architecture there. I spent my first 10 years in finance, actually, the latter close to 10 years in product, and kind of came full circle back to Capital One, bringing together sort of my experiences in both traditional finance and technology. Look, very interested in what all the innovation is happening in both fintech, health tech, and across all domains. Technology used to be its own domain, and now it's relevant across all industries. And so, getting my hands dirty on a daily basis, and really excited to share what I learned over the last week or so, putting this stuff together for you guys.
Got it, got it, got it. I love it. Oh, we also got Armor in the house too. Let's go up there and give him a bomb. Okay, and then Manus AI agents. This was actually my assistant put this in the wrong order. Why Manus? Why Meta purchase Manus? And then why what Manus basically means for AI product managers in 2026. I'm gonna go out there and let you guys know this right now. Uh, Overall, it's about revenue. There is actually a lot of agentic AI platforms, but I'm going to be honest, a lot of them are not profitable. If anything, they're burning cash faster than you can throw stacks of cash in a fireplace on Christmas morning, all right? Manus being, the awesome Chinese operated company they are, actually has legit $100 million ARR. That's $60 million more than the next biggest player, which is N8N in Germany. Could have easily been either or, but Meta's going to be implementing this throughout all of their departments. So if you like, I'm going to have, oh yeah, one more thing I forgot to tell you guys. So I'm stopping by into the JP Morgan office tomorrow. I'm totally going to go ahead and milk that meeting. And like a freaking typical product management influencer, I'm going to be up there photo and videoing that thing up the yin yang. If you guys want JP Morgan referrals, definitely let me know. Uh, I'm going to come back with about like 20 some roles, but I am asking them also like what skills that they're going to be looking for, and I am telling you guys, Manus is one of the skills that's going to really differentiate you guys into the competition. With that said, before James goes about his demo right here, uh, this is schedule a consultation with us. Give me a quick second. I'm going to drop in the consultation link. Schedule a consultation with us. If you guys want to go ahead and get in, we got to think about 11 spots more left, but we're adding to our existing product AI product management curriculum. We have Manus, Perplexity Comet, Grok, Cloud Cowork, and also the user acquisition certification for growth product management, crypto and blockchain product management, cybersecurity product management, which is actually the CompTIA Sec AI Plus, fintech and digital payments and product management certification. And then coming in Q2, which we're having somebody work on right now, is how to transition to VC product management. Yeah. And then if you sign up actually before Friday, depending on actually our bandwidth, because we only got 11 spots more or less. If you sign up before Friday, you'll get a 1 month of application assistance on us, but you have to have your portfolio done. And I'm also gonna throw it out right here. Uh, do not schedule a call if you're looking for free therapy. I ain't got it in me. Okay, hang on.
Activity when you're on productivity when you're on your own versus in a community, even if you whether it's in like a same office or room, or even if you're on a video call together, like we've seen some substantial gains on productivity, and that's just how we are naturally built. We are social creatures by nature. And so I think I've already found that to be really beneficial. I know Rich and I have spent hours working on our own stuff, right?
Yeah.
On video calls, and found like we're just heads down, and I've seen gains from that. And so definitely want to double down and just reiterate like the importance of community, and the value that brings back to your individual productivity.
100%. So without further ado, let's get in. Also, I wanted to go out there and add something. If anybody's looking for like the safest product management role, to go out there and pivot to, the newest CompTIA certification called Sec AI Plus. Nobody has this guy. It's coming out on February 17th. We're gonna go out there and get early access to it. We're putting together a live cohort of people that are gonna go through this certification and to get certified live. I challenge anybody to do it on their own. I don't think it's gonna happen. There's like a reason why there's like marathon, like there's like running clubs for marathons. If you can do it on your own, you wouldn't be here, right? So, like, anyways, with that said, I'm gonna go out there, stop my share now. James, let's go out there and see this demo.
Awesome. Alrighty, put together a really short deck for y'all just to sort of summarize my approach, and what you guys can expect to see here. So we are presenting today job applications with Manus. This is an overview of how I leverage Manus to streamline workflows, in this case, for daily job applications. Um, and the reason why Rich and I are continuing to dive further into this space, and we're seeing just the world is changing at such an incredible pace right before our eyes, right? I've been, you know, dabbling in a lot of these tools for close to 18 to 24 months now. And the iterations, the directions, the different pivots that you're seeing across the board is pretty incredible. Our mission here is to continue learning, and bringing that knowledge back to you guys in order to coach, upskill, and build confidence up in the next generation of product managers. I could tell you that doing this on my own has significantly boosted my own confidence, boosted my sort of tool set that I can leverage both at work and for all of the different side hustles that I'm sure many of you would be interested in. And so, and we've proven that time and time again, right? We pivoted, I was, you know, guinea pig one of sort of Rich's coaching experiment, right? And he's managed to flip that into a decade long business where I know personally dozens of folks that have gotten placed, but I know across his programs and cohorts, he's placed hundreds of folks across all sorts of domains and industries. And so definitely the right place to be. Um, with that said, I'll jump into sort of what we tried here, right? Many of us, I know Tarun, among others, even in the cohorts, right, have taken their cracks at automating the job application workflow, right? And here's what I figured out. Um, just so you guys know, I was brand new to Manus. I had heard murmurings of it, but I had not even opened the website until maybe 10 days ago. And so I started with exploration, right? Fortunately, they are one of the more robustly documented platforms out there. And so jumping into the docs, videos, and different use cases that they present as samples, I then started to break up the workflow into some of the primary steps, right? What do we typically do when we're looking at when we're going down the rabbit hole of applying for jobs, right? You want to aggregate job postings, right? LinkedIn has made that really easy for us, as you'll see in this tab on the right here. Um, Actually doing running the applications, and for those of you like myself who want to keep track, right, of where you've applied, keep track of follow-ups, etc., the ability to log your activity. Um, I, like many of you, also ran into quite a few walls, hurdles, right? And I started to dabble or started to explore other tools like N8N, Zapier, just to see if I could stitch together some of the more complex steps with some shortcuts by leveraging these other tools. Um, After spending days running around in circles, I landed on this browser plugin, which is what I will be presenting to you today, which actually allows you to run Manus's virtual machine locally integrated into your Chrome browser directly. And so, a couple of things I want to preface before I jump into the demo. What you want to do is have a session of your Chrome log into your LinkedIn or whatever platform you're looking to automate against. Um, you want to, in my case, I will bring up my LinkedIn here real quick. Jobs based on my activity. I have a very generic sort of job alert setup here, which helps LinkedIn identify the types of job postings I may be interested in. I had multiple postings, I mean, sort of like alerts here set up in the past. Um, Probably some other more senior level positions here. I put this together for the sake of this demo, but you guys are welcome to set up alerts that help sort of drive how LinkedIn recommends their list of jobs to you. Um, and so, without further ado, I have, and so what I would ask is log into your LinkedIn, set up a couple of job alerts, right? That that help aggregate the types of roles you're interested in. And then last but not least, I want y'all to go to your Chrome browser. I hope you guys can see this here, but they have a Manus extension available. And so first things first, you want to go ahead and download that extension and plug it into your Manus. Manus also comes with a free trial. Um, and as I'll show you guys shortly, that free trial candidly isn't enough to sort of get through the experimentation. Um, we'll dive into pricing and such next, but I'm going to jump right into this. I have my LinkedIn. I'm logged in. I'm on my jobs page, right? I have my plugin installed and integrated into my Chrome session, and so I'm going to tell Manus, "Hey Manus, I know we did this before, this yesterday, but let's show our attendees and what we were able to accomplish and run them through a quick demo. What I want you to do is the following. You guys, I actually wrote this out in one long block, but I'm just kind of organizing or structuring the prompt so that's easier to read for y'all. One, go to linkedinjobs.com. Navigate to show all under jobs based on your activity. And I'm going to keep it really simple to start, right? Find the first job posting that supports easy apply with LinkedIn. Fill out any and all required questions, and submit the application. You do not need my confirmation to submit the application. Go. Right. I've toyed around with different versions of this prompt. I think being explicit about the steps tends to help um, the AI avoid any gotchas. I kept it a bit simple. There's some like supplemental stuff that I will add along the way, but I did it intentionally for illustrative purposes. Um, but here we go. So now it is navigating to the LinkedIn jobs page, right? Oops, sorry. Hold on, let's see. Bear with me here. And it was prompting me to said, bear with me here. Yesterday, I mentioned that the logged in link and tab is right in this window. Let's use that session. Hmm, that's odd. Give me a sec here. Apologies, guys. I might have had the wrong one. Yep. Okay. Learning as I go. I'm going to copy the same thread here. I forgot that you have to prompt it directly from the extension. Let's still try that. There we are. So this is what I forgot the step that we skipped. Authorize a new tab, authorize it. And so what it's actually doing, it's running a headless browser with directly within Chrome, integrated into Manus runs as this is running. I'll flip back and forth to show you guys sort of the steps that it's taking. Um, as you can see, you see this like interesting blue tint as it's running through the steps that I instructed it for. Um, Manus is running in the cloud a virtual Linux machine um, that is, as we're going, writing scripts, writing logic, right? Firing off algorithms based on your request. And in this case, feeding that through the direct Chrome browser integration. And so, as I mentioned, I asked it to find the first easy apply position. And so it's going down here. It's actually already identified RJ, a senior product manager. 400K seems like a lie, but I wouldn't mind interviewing for that role. And as you see, it is browsing. I'm going to again flip between the two tabs here just so that you guys can see what it is that Manus is doing and thinking. Just clicking on the elements. Okay, there we go. I've uploaded the latest version of my resume here as well, so that it doesn't need to go and fetch a file from my computer. Press to continue. And so there are questions that, and this is where I wanted to not be as explicit because there are some forms that have some gotchas here. And so it's actually going in and reading my resume to see how many years of experience, right? And so wherever it can, instead of coming back and stopping the automation, it's able to read my resume and answer some of these questions to the extent that it can. It'll only stop if it's unable to get past a particular step or question. Here we are. I told it that I don't need to confirm. Let's see if it remembers that, or let's see if it actually prompts me to confirm again. Next, I will proceed to submit the application. Amazing. Submitting the application now. Voila. There we are. What you can also do then is connect different applications like your Google Drive. It doesn't have like individual sort of application integrations like Google Docs or Sheets, but what it is able to do is summarize the application, go into an existing file like a Google Sheet, and fill out that sheet based on all this activity. Um, what I do want to caveat this with before we open up the floor for questions is what did this cost me, right? I had to actually go and pay for um, their pay tier service because I will give you guys a quick glimpse at this job application ran me 400 credits, right? For an easy apply application, which is actually on the lower end, right? A $40 a month subscription grants you 8,000 credits. And so at 400 or so, we're talking 20 apps before you run out of all credits, right? Um, I can also prompt it to go and fill out applications that aren't supporting Easy Apply, and it was able to do that as well. But as you can see from my usage, that workflow cost me close to 3,000, right? Depending on the complexity of that actual application form. And so That is one caveat that I did take away. And that is that is actually the theme of this last slide here. Here are some of my key takeaways. Manus and pricing. As you guys can see, Manus is quite powerful, especially at when you're leveraging its browser plugin capabilities. But the way that they've designed the product and their pricing structure make it unviable for really repetitive tasks, right? Because it just gets too costly. Um, what I did do, and what we'll also be including and adding, as well as updating the existing AI product curriculum, is I tried other tools like Perplexity, like Claude. Everybody seems to be going in this similar direction where it's to date it's been LLMs and prompting and getting answers back. We're now layering on the execution element and capability, and why Manus was acquired really was to layer on the execution, right? And so I started to dabble with some other tools. There are some pros and cons that I've learned that we will be including, right? And I was able to ultimately find a way to stitch together um, a end-to-end workflow based on the limitations and sort of the strengths of each of these different platforms. Um, but the real learning for me was there are definitely ways to piece together this and any other workflow, right? The capabilities are now starting to catch up. And in some certain spots, it could really make sense to do so. I am still interested in automating plenty of workflows, whether it's through web or through different APIs. Um, but to grind it out is important, right? And so I'll pause there. And I'm happy to show like a demo of the actual external application process as well towards the end of this if anybody's interested. But I'll pause there for any questions, comments, etc.
Yeah, I think I want to go ahead and add something about like why actually getting like James, how much time did this take you, like all in all?
I spent a good about a week, right? Mainly because I get into a rabbit hole a bit when it comes to like different technologies. Even if I get a solution, I want to understand why or why not in terms of how it's working, and so got pretty deep into the rabbit hole. But I did come across the browser ability in the last 48 hours, and so I'd say the week of exploration just to get familiar with the tool and similar capabilities across other platforms so I could compare and contrast. And over the last 48 hours, I was able to put this together by just, toying around with different prompts. Um, and as you guys can see, I'm still pretty fresh to the platform. And so I forgot that I had to trigger the session directly out of the plugin. But yeah, there's a lot of really neat stuff that we could do there. Um, there's a lot more technical sort of implementations and use cases that you could deliver with Manus. The browser plugin I thought was a really neat demo and also allows you to circumvent a lot of the anti-spam sort of guardrails that are on a lot of these platforms these days. And so that's something that I also took away, which was like, because Manus is running directly in your browser,
Right.
like LinkedIn wasn't aware that this is being run by some sort of RPA, right? And so that's something that I also thought was pretty neat.
Yeah, I think as like, another reason why people actually want to go and schedule that call and hurry up and level up on these skills is that the product manager interview, unfortunately, is going to get more technical because they actually want to know that you were involved in actually building out this workflow. And right now, it's like we're still very new. Like it wasn't really that long ago that you had like Open AI also had dropped their own AI, Agentic AI. And these workflows will continue to go ahead and get more sophisticated. Obviously, when you guys saw that it ran the way that it did, I don't think there's a surprise why it's $100 million ARR. Because it'll just blow
Yeah,
through. Yeah, it'll
yeah.
just blow
I
through.
mean,
Yeah.
and in all honesty, like for those of you that might be a bit more technical and familiar with the stack, right? There's like computer vision components. There's a lot of intelligence being run against what you just saw there, right? And it's doing it to the extent that it can and burning far too much resources for simple tasks because it's trying to have its own eyes, its own brain, its own memory, right? What we're going to see, and this is like V1 of a sort of like this sort of agent that's able to act autonomously on your machine by integrating with a cloud machine session, right? And so this is really what like a lab somewhere would have had to spend millions of dollars stitching together to put together a working version. But make no mistake, this is going to get a lot leaner, a lot cheaper, a lot more flexible as we go. You had Claude Cowork, right, as part on that list, Rich. Everybody is starting to go in this direction because we know a text response from an LLM doesn't deliver shit, right? Excuse my
Right.
part, pardon my French, right? Like, um, you need to be able to act. Um, you need to be able to act to produce outcome. And so that is really the direction where all these platforms are going. And we are going to see it be a bit pricey because of what it costs to run these capabilities. But again, I fully expect that this is going to get a lot cheaper and a lot more efficient.
Yeah. So, upcoming cohort two champs is going to be a hybrid experience out here in New York. So for those of you who are in New York, we will be doing it in person, and we will also be including like a live stream version of what's going on in the office in New York. Amr, I told you I'm back. I'm back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Rich, what I just wanted to say too is as part of the program, community is so important because now that I've seen James do this, I've been working on something similar on my own side. Now I'm literally going to send James a message, and this is how things grow.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so yeah, if
Awesome,
you think
awesome.
you could do this alone, good luck.
And Amr here is one of the folks that have been out there like actually building a real product,
Yeah.
not just for the sake of like a hackathon, but to like see if you could take something 0 to 1, right? And he's gotten a chance to show me some of the stuff he's built, which is pretty neat. And so yeah, and I know he's constantly, looking for feedback. And fortunately he's got people engaged, right? Because we're really excited to just see somebody get off their ass, right? And roll up their sleeves and put something together. And I do see a comment, I mean a question that just dropped in here, so I could jump into that one here, Rich, real quick.
Go,
Gopal,
Paul.
like there is a free version, right? As you saw the number of credits, I believe you get 1,000, right? And so what I started doing was like inviting all of my other emails to get the extra like 500 credits. But I was exhausting them way too quickly, and so I ended up just paying the $50, right? I have more than more subscriptions, paid subscriptions than I could count right now, right? For the sake of doing this exploration for y'all. And so you're very welcome. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think it's an investment. I think that, you know, the fact, what I really took away was like by looking at the nuances across the platform, you get a sense, you're able to start to forecast like the direction that the space and these tools are going, right? Um, and finding like where some of the strengths and gaps lie across these platforms. And so, Gopal, to answer your question, I started with a free version, ended up on a paid version, right? For the sake of, because I had to run this demo a few times and I actually exhausted all my credits. And so I had to pay the actual minimal tier to get this done.
Yeah. Let me
Yeah.
see here. I think like there's also another question here. What were the cons and how did you use
Yeah.
multiple tools? Does this person want to go out there and identify themselves? We could have a convo. What were the cons and how did you use multiple tools alongside Manus? What were the cons, man? You did
Yeah.
you
I
did the
mean, obviously, like with any of these platforms, and even if they're well documented, these AIs for to start aren't perfect by any means. Um, B, pricing, right? The way that they design their product is running a virtual Linux machine in their cloud. And so what might seem like really simple tasks can be very expensive early on in their stack. And so that's definitely a con. I tried N8N. I tried platforms like Rapid API, where you could access both free and paid endpoints on platforms like Meta, like LinkedIn, to access their data. Um, what some pros there is that a lot of that stuff can be free to experiment with. Some cons there is a tweak to like LinkedIn's externally facing endpoints basically shuts down that access immediately, right? And so um, as far as like what other tools I use, I dabble with Claude, I dabble with Perplexity. Um, what I ended up being able to stitch together end to end is not available for free here. but rather will be included in the curriculum as a pretty substantial update.
I was just going to say what James has basically done is he's able to have something apply for him without ever touching LinkedIn's backend right now. Because if you know anything about LinkedIn, they guard their API like no tomorrow. And so essentially, he's semi future proof this already. If they want to go and make changes, like cool, doesn't matter. We're knowing the price of your house from standing outside of it, essentially. So this is where the technical side comes, and I think the more you build, the more you learn.
That was pretty gangster what you just said right
That
now.
is so spot on.
Yeah.
Like what I've learned in the last maybe 10 weeks versus 20 weeks prior to that, where I was handcuffing myself by reading versus doing, right? Versus just like trying to like produce an outcome and a result has been tremendously different. And so I would absolutely urge you guys, like, I don't care if it's paid, right? I don't care if it's free. Like, what's $30? You spend $30 when you're stressed out on like 4 cups of caramel macchiato, right? Like, make that investment in yourself and into a platform that you could probably take away a ton of learnings from, right? And so,
I just want to echo what Amr said as well. Like actually diving in and failing fast, as they say, is how you're going to learn the quickest. Like right now, I'm trying to build in N8N and Claude to build some kind of automation, but more for like creating content and videos and stuff like that. I don't know how many hours I spent doing it, but I'm learning about coding. I'm learning out how everything kind of goes together. So I'm super excited about checking out Manus. So yeah, James, my man, great presentation.
no, appreciate it. Happy to like touch base with y'all if y'all have any questions. It's actually like it's able to like on the fly write a script to try to accomplish what you're asking it to do, right? It's pretty sexy shit, right? To be honest. And so if you're a bit more technical and, you know, have use cases that, aren't disrupted by like platform anti-spam policies, right? I would definitely urge you guys to explore it. It's a pretty phenomenal tool, and I now have I have a much better understanding of why this dude Zuck went out and dropped two Bs on him.
Two B's for him is nothing.
I just need 0.1 B, Rich, okay? I don't even need a full B. Just get me point 0.1, okay? 100
B.
million, I'll be on a boat and you'll never see me again.
I just need enough to start to become a VC myself, and then I'm good.
Yo, it's the time. I'm trying to invest before the end of the year's out, yo. Shit.
Yeah.
That's what they
Let's
spent
do it.
on
I'm a,
China, man. Two B's.
all right. Any other questions, folks? Like I
Yeah,
know it was a pretty short and sweet demo.
yeah,
Like there was a lot that went into it to get there, but yeah.
yeah. Like, any questions about overall getting the like? I think now is the time. Like you don't like making it here. Effort points, definitely 100%. You guys get an A+ on there, but like any questions, right? Like this is your time. You guys have like more than four product managers that are fresh from the job hunt that landed. If you guys have questions, right now is it. I always see like even if you guys don't even like, I'm trying to look for a job. I don't even know what question I should ask you. I mean, do something. I mean, everybody's just always like, like, it's like Mark is bad, bad, bad. No, that's all you've been doing for the last 12 hours, bro. It's like just saying it's bad. You know, like any questions at all? I think let me just scroll up here. Is that it? No other questions? Uh
I'll drop my LinkedIn in here for those of you that are interested in giving me a holler or have any questions on what y'all just saw that don't come to mind off the bat. Let's see here.
There's a couple coming in.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome.
Can we pop the questions into the Q&A button, please? Folks. Yeah, because we
Yeah.
got like people's like LinkedIn and everything. If you guys can pop it into
Yeah, I see Andy's question. I can start running down here.
yeah.
This is very different from N8N. N8N is much similar to like a GUI version of or a version or a more technical version of Zapier, right? Where they offer like a graphical interface, and they are able to build modules. Um, Here, your interface is that LLM sort of like prompt window, and so The interface, I would say, is probably the biggest difference. Um, let me
Andy,
say,
did you ask that question?
yeah,
Yes, I
I'm
did.
looking at.
I was letting James finish his. I
Awesome,
mean,
awesome.
I am aware, but I think
Yeah,
it was a relevant question maybe for a lot of people because
yep,
they
yep,
are competing products, right? As you showed in
yep, yep.
initially. So for
Uh,
me, I was just like, how do they differ? Because I mean, looking at it, I haven't used Manus, but I've used N8N, and looking at it, I can tell the difference. But I don't. I thought it was a good question for everybody to get that understanding, right? So
awesome,
for me,
for
I think
sure.
this is way more like vibe coding than actually where N8N is different is like you have to have an understanding of agents to actually start building them. Whereas here you're just like the agents are built for you, you're just vibe coding to use them.
Andy, it's because Asian owned businesses are always thinking about the end user experience. You're talking
Agreed.
about a Chinese company versus a German company in terms of end user experience. It's not going to
Yep.
be a comparison.
Uh, well, while y'all dabble, I'm gonna. So, is Manus primarily agentic AI? It is execution AI. And the primary goal of it is to build agents. Yes. Um, let's see here, Jeremy. I'm gonna try to flip between the two here. Did AI come up? AI came up in my job interview at Capital One 18 months ago. It was a really quick, just like check on like what your interests are. Um, but and I didn't answer Richard's question from earlier in the deck. His deck was we have a multi-million dollar deal with Google. I mean, we obviously use their workspace platform, but we also have we're starting to integrate Gemini stack. And obviously, like earlier on, there wasn't much that we could do, and we're highly regulated, and so we have to be very careful about the data that's made available to the model. But we are starting to integrate things like gems and um, like starting with like knowledge bases to and like different bots so that we don't have to spend as much time sharing knowledge and providing support across different teams and organizations within Capital One, but becoming significantly and rapidly more relevant both in job interviews and on the job.
That
Um, yeah,
answer your question, Jeremy. Well, hopefully they'll give you like talk access, but like
yeah,
across like not just like product management, but just there isn't any role right now that you're interviewing that's a white collar job where they will not be asking you about AI. It could be a business analyst job, a customer success job, even a tech sales role, product marketing role, UX researcher role, QA, a data analyst, uh, project manager, program manager, you name it. Like AI is already dominating every interview right now. You either have that portfolio and you can show them that you went from 0 to 1, or else somebody else that can and does have that is going to take your job away from you. That's it.
for
And
sure.
if you're interviewing and they're not asking you about AI, that's a red flag. That company is not keeping up. So just keep that in
Yeah,
mind.
yeah, for sure. Unless it's like a freaking boat manufacturing company, and I think that's a good segue into software versus hardware. I came from a world of hardware. I am never going back. It is incredibly challenging. You are dealing with far different variables and factors versus the software space. Unless you have like my previous boss, where I did actually spend 3 to 4 years at a self-funded billionaires hardware company. I could tell you, unless you have the background in electrical engineering and specific sort of like networking and IoT domains, I would probably urge you to stay away, unless you're very much interested. And it's Anduril, right? One or the other.
Hardware
Um,
uses entirely different frameworks. So they have like MAD, I think, Modified Agile Hardware Development Framework. But then they also have like, honestly, you don't need, in my opinion, you don't really need product managers in hardware. You have your project managers. That's what they do. They use their Lean Six Sigma. You need gate
yep, yep,
blocks for things. So
yep.
that being said, 100%, I can see all of this still being replaced by AI in the near future. Um, It can project, it can forecast, it can do everything you need to do near very soon. I also look at like Adobe's AI just because I do a lot of creative stuff on the side. If you guys haven't seen anything that like Creative Works or AutoCAD or anything like that, AI is taking over all of that. So there might be a transition there instead.
Yeah. We're doing a lot of stuff with Agentic AI for the upcoming curriculum in February. But like we actually have a lot of generative AI that's actually in the works. Like I know a lot of people that work like in effects and the entertainment space. And one of the guys that I know that used to do, he used to get paid 300K a year in doing video editing. He's out of a job right now. And he has just given up on trying to find that job, like another editing job. He is now just learning generative AI to make his own movies and just kind of looking at it. You'll see a huge displacement from Hollywood because Netflix is like adopting it like crazy and creating their content. But that's going to be more stuff that we're going to be talking about like in Q2. Um, Let me see here. All right, so in my, give me a second. Just want to make sure we didn't miss anything. Yes, I second that
I
too.
like this one. I like this question. Yeah. So yes, there are companies that are sometimes looking for folks with very specific domain knowledge. I have had four or maybe five different product jobs in the last decade, all very, very different domains and industries, right? And so, while maybe a enterprise Fortune 500 might have a very specific idea of who they're looking for, just about everybody else is looking for the right fit, and somebody that can come in and adapt themselves to the team and environment and domain, that has proven that they're quick learners, right? Obviously, like if you have zero interest or knowledge of the space, you're gonna find yourself challenged on the interview. But I've been in mobile strategy, I've been in hardware networks, I've been in NFTs, I've been at a brief stint at an investment company, right? And now I'm back in fintech, right? And so domain important and relevant, yes. Is it a blocker? I don't think by any means.
Well, thank you.
No problem.
Uh, my observation, other thing that was the program management, project management kind of roles slowly fading away, and a lot of expectation is coming from the product management while they do the product management and the sort of the engineering management job, as well as manage the program schedules and balance everything. So clearly, technical and non-technical. This is just like a two roles, not the multiple breakups. That's what I'm observing right now.
Hey, do you mean you're observing that on your job, from your peers, like from interviews? I'm kind of curious where
Yeah.
your perspective come from.
So it is from LinkedIn requirements. So when I'm trying to apply for the job and I'm getting into interviews, what I'm observing that the expectation is
I
not
see.
only what is mentioned, it is multiple things more than that. What is the job description only tells
Yep,
us.
yep, yep, for sure. And again, but for the most part, I'd still say like most of these job like descriptions are pretty templated, and there are much more overlapping requirements than there are unique ones, right? And so that is like the sort of like the vast pond that we want to play in versus chasing down the edge cases, right? And so
Yeah, and just last question, or it's a point that these all technologies and everything are definitely required, and without that, as you mentioned, it is Rich mentioned that it is not a white collar job anymore. So, but one thing what I'm just looking into or observing that people are not really asking that whether you made how you achieve 0 to 1 or 1 to n, or how do you achieve the growth or retain the customers. Everyone is trying to solve the problem that what you have done with AI to in your current job or in the sidekick. But that is to me, it is a like a, if it's a trend, it is a scary. But do you see that kind of trend that people are not interested in the basics of product management? Rather, all they are looking for that as a product management manager, what technology you can deliver.
the product management skills are presumed, right? Like they're hoping that whatever screening process, whatever kind of conversation that their HR rep had with you, right? Uh, has at least screened that minimal knowledge and skill set. And it looks like a couple of folks hopped off of mute, and I'll let them kind of wrap that answer up.
Yeah, I think just to add to that, James, like a lot of the basics of product management, twofold. One, it's just assumed, and two, it's been leveled up. You know, like how do you create a PRD? Like what features have you been delivered are now just so almost rudimentary in terms of the expectations of a product manager that it makes it, not almost worth asking about. And instead, you're focused a lot more on impact. What have you been able to deliver? What have you been able to drive, and how did you do it specifically? And they'll want to get into the nuances of that versus, telling me about how would you create a PRD. All of those things that really a quick chat GPT or Gemini query can do for you within a minute is just going to be not really worth asking about anymore.
Got it. Makes sense.
Thanks, Brent. Are you calling in from I think I'm taking a look at your LinkedIn right here. Melbourne, Australia? Ash?
No, me,
Yeah.
I'm from New Jersey.
Oh shit. Wrong Ash Meta. New Jersey. There's an AI product manager named Ash Meta from Melbourne, Australia.
Right.
New Jersey. All right, by all means, schedule a call with us, man. We'd love to go out there and talk to you some more. Give me a second here. Let's see here. How was okay, I have an interview tomorrow with a pharma company. Do you know how AI is going to be used in pharma? I mean, I think we can go out there and take. Who wants to take a crack? I mean, who was that question for? Because you usually have access to me. Was it for one of the panelists? Me too.
I mean, like y'all know about AlphaFold, right? Like all of the insane AI capabilities being leveraged in pharma to
Yeah.
simulate, like I
New
think I heard somebody.
protein, basically new
Yeah.
protein structures. We went from maybe having 100,000 to over a million or 200 million now, it looks like from their website in about a year because of AI. It's ridiculous.
We are going to see this is going to be one of the most incredible medical sort of innovation cycles we've ever seen. Like we are going to cure cancer. We are going to cure a lot of degenerative diseases in the next decade.
We
I
have
am telling
cured
you.
already sickle cell anemia. It's already deployed. That's already happening. They're working on, and so I have more of a background in this. They're working on arthritis using stem cells from adipose tissues to be able to treat that. All of this is with AI, right? And so my answer to you is healthcare is always a little bit more touchy. Make sure you rely on and go back to watch what they're saying. You just have to be careful. Um, if you're doing pharma, if you're working with anything with clinical trials, know your clinical trials information and how that works. But then also HIPAA violations and rights is the things you have to be careful of. Other than that, they're still pushing the fold no matter what.
Great. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. We have obviously here. Priyanka, how was the experience interviewing at Capital One like? Like you said, you come from financial services. What does the fund currently expect from PMs to have knowledge about in terms of AI? If you have never previously worked with AI in your previous product manager roles.
In my case, I actually ahead of like joining Capital One, um, I had run a small like consultancy slash agency to leverage what was a lot less robust AI capabilities about 18 months ago to streamline, automate, um, and improve overall business operations. I did, a pretty large project for a buddy of mine who was feeding. I don't know if y'all recall back in like 2024, all the migrants that were up in New York, right? Like camped out at all these different hotels getting free food paid for by the city. Uh, he was fortunate enough to land some of these contracts, made a small fucking fortune. Uh, but in the process, he wanted ways to sort of, streamline his operations because it was driving him nuts and he wasn't getting any sleep. And so I stepped in to sort of like integrate some technology into to sort of improving his backend operations. And so I did have some experience there. I've always dabbled with new technologies, right? And so I was able to speak to that quite a bit. As I mentioned, like 18 months ago when I interviewed at Capital One, I think AI was a bit less relevant. But as soon as I joined is when we signed the Gemini deal. And so we like things are ramping up. I'm actually running point for a small sort of like AI side project for my team on how we could leverage it further into our like product support chat capabilities. And so yeah, definitely becoming more and more relevant. And I could tell you that we're putting our money where our mouth is there.
Awesome. Thank you so much for answering that question. So I also wanted to know what when it comes to fintech, what exactly is the industry kind of looking for PMs getting into fintech? Because I do come from fintech, but I've never really worked with AI in my past roles. So I just wanted to also understand where is it that we can kind of improve ourselves to stand out in this market?
Well, I mean, just being familiar with what's out there, right, in terms of capabilities, in terms of offerings, platforms, right? Um, I'm not sure where in what company or you were at in fintech, but as a product manager at any company, like one of our primary responsibilities is to produce artifacts, right? Typically by aggregating information across a number of different sources, right? Um, I am looking to streamline my day-to-day efforts on that front, and so plugging into our Confluence spaces, right? Plugging into different sources of information that are relevant to my space and my team space in order to not only produce artifacts, but provide support to our peers across the broader organization, right? Like if you are, I work in car tech, but if you are on the bank side or in business, right, or on partnerships, right, and if you want to have a better understanding of how we operate as a platform, rather than taking up my time, like now we have a space that you could ask simple questions that dig into our database or dig into our document repos, right, and come back with some um, pretty fluid and accurate answers. And so that's like been one of our first sort of implementations of AI and Gemini. But I suspect that's going to continue to grow. I know on the modeling front, right? Like as a as a business that generates a good majority of our revenue from cards, credit cards, we build and deploy very complex financial models in order for us to deploy our um, capital risk strategically. In the past, I've heard that it's taken anywhere from like 6 to 18 months to build and test models. We are now doing a dozen models on a quarterly basis by leveraging like the Gemini integration. And so like this has happened in the 18 months I've been there, right? And so while like you might not have, and again, when I first joined, it wasn't as relevant. It is becoming relevant very, very, very quickly.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
No problem.
Great question. Great question.
Great
I
question indeed.
yeah. I also want to follow that up with Priyanka. Like I'm actually meeting up with a few recruiter friends that are at JPM tomorrow. Like a lot of companies, not just in like financial services, or you're thinking about investment banking, a lot of them they don't even know what they're gonna do with AI, but they're definitely intrigued about it, right? So if you have any use cases that you think you can bring in, and there's also ways that you can prompt it. Imagine if you were sitting with Jamie Dimon right now. I'm telling you, he'd be very interested. Like, they don't even know. So, and even the ideas that they have, they also don't know if in the long run it's going to be a good idea or bad idea. But a lot of companies right now, you're seeing them more open to experimenting than ever before. So don't just go in there thinking like, oh yeah, like what are you guys thinking about, and like how do I go out there and fit into those roles? Like start going into these interviews, actually coming in with some use cases yourself about how you think. Like if you were doing an interview with Capital One tomorrow, right? Like Manus is obviously they're getting a lot of publicity right now, how you think Manus could be implemented into the organization, or how you think like a Grok can be implemented. Because I could tell you this, like just like with anything else, like somebody has to teach you how to use like a Dyson vacuum cleaner, or they have to teach you how to use like a Ninja blender, or like forget it. James and I were talking about like air fryers the other day, right? Like you have to like
God, I
show,
still
right?
haven't bought one. Fucking
Right.
shit.
Yeah, you have to like there's some consumer education. Like I'm pretty sure like Elon Musk, he had to think of like, okay, this is how the Department of Defense could use well no, correct myself, the Department of War right now. We're in the offense, right? The Department of War could use Grok. Um And they're probably thinking to themselves like, well, what would we use that for? So I think coming in there with some possible use cases that definitely from like a former recruiter's perspective, that also really helps differentiate you from the crowd. Because a lot of people are going to be coming in here asking them like, oh, what do you guys do? And like, how do I go out there and help out? Bring in some use cases yourself because they know as much as you do. Those ideas could be very bad and not work out for them in like 3 months as well. Cool.
I want to add, like, for those of you that are already part of the cohort, you guys already know this. One of the biggest value adds here is being able to optimize how you approach the interview, right? All of you guys forget the person you're on the call with across from you is just another person, right? Another person that has their own set of incentives, right, that are driving them on that call. Like everybody is so obsessed with how they feel, what they're going to do, how they're thinking, right? And forget the most important part, which is you are trying to convince that person across from you that you're the one, right? So when you want to do that, how should you approach that process? It's flipping your perspective, right? And that's what I think I took away the most from, even in the 10-year ago version of this program. It's being able to talk to Rich and like walk through interview recordings, right? Like, how can I improve my approach, my mindset, right? Going into this process, because I think that's what's lost on folks. And even when you go into that stuff, like these sessions prepared, like there's pressure there, right? So like you need practice, you need feedback, right? Like I'm learning golf right now, and I recently found out like you should never golf, right? Or practice unless you have somebody there to provide direct feedback, like visible feedback for you, right? Because you can't look at yourself while you're swinging, right? And so I think that's one of the biggest sort of wrinkles and like value propositions that we offer here, which is like you need that feedback so that you're going into there with an entirely different perspective and mindset that they will feel, right? And that will, I can assure you, will bring you'll see returns on, right? And so,
Yeah. Hopefully, Priyanka, that was helpful.
Oh, I just wanted to
yeah.
say lastly with Priyanka to just build something, right? Like Rich is saying, have an idea of what you would want for them, but you were asking if you don't have AI experience, how to go into the role, get AI experience, go build something, right? And then you'll be a lot more confident in talking to them. They might not even know what you're saying, but you'll be like, oh yeah, I use this, this, and this is how we connected things. It's a very different place.
Right. I currently am working on like a side project, but I just also wanted to understand how exactly um does like in which part of the interview process is where we can actually showcase like our AI skills? Is there like a system
That
design
that
round, or
that
like it obviously
I'm
doesn't fit into like a behavioral or a technical round. So I just wanted to see how can we actually display those skills.
you are you a part of the program, Priyanka? I'm sorry if
Yes,
I don't
yes,
know.
I
Okay,
am. Yeah.
yes. So, like, go back to your interviews, look at the questions, and you find opportunities where you could pull those examples out of your back pocket, right? Like, oh, tell me how you did, like, tell me how like, increased, like, retention by 10%, right? You
Mhm.
talk about and you create a story, right, based on your experience building these side projects or different artifacts, right? And you creatively figure out how you could answer that question in a way where you could integrate AI, different technology, different um, expertise and like abilities of yours
Mhm.
in the most like positive way possible. There is no answer. I can't give you an answer to like what is the answer. It's you have done multiple interviews. You know the types of questions you're going to be asked. If you do enough interviews, you'll get a sense of like the types of questions based on domain, type of company, scale of company, right? And you're able to have like these like aces up your sleeve, these stories, right? Where you're like, you'll have a trigger on a question. You'll be like, this is the perfect opportunity for me to pull that one out of my hat. Right. And so that's where like the interview prep is really important. Right. Being able to have these like nice little aces up your sleeve and being able to slot them in where you find the opportunity to do so. And it frankly comes down to your creativity and what you've experienced. Right. I learned.
Yeah.
Also, I would say like 2 weeks ago, James probably could not speak to running a virtual machine via Linux at all in any
Yeah.
regard, but now he
Yeah.
can. And so like when he's like, hey, this could maybe be applied here, he'll just bring it up. He'd be like, this is
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
we could try.
It's like, hey,
So
I looked at Manus's like technical architecture and I was able to decipher like blah, blah, blah. And I think they should do it this way, not that way. Right. Like,
Right.
Like I actually do come from like a virtual machine space, and so like I could see why it's so damn expensive, right? And like anything that has to do with vision, where you're asking a machine to read and identify, is very, very expensive, right? Because they're looking at every pixel on the damn screen, right? And so again, like take a take a deep breath, Priyanka, take a big step back, right? And think about like what do they want to hear? How
Yeah.
can I come up with stories and answers that I think they want to hear, right? And that's, I think, a good place to start.
Yes, for sure. Thank you.
No problem.
Just to add to that, right, what James and Amir said, Priyanka, I think I think, in my opinion, behavioral questions are the best places to plug these in. And whenever I've been asked questions, it's like, oh, tell me about a time you did this. I kind of just jump into it like, well, in my professional career, I've done this, but let me show you something I'm doing on the side project, and jump into it, which kind of gives them a easier way for you to explain things, and at the same time show them things that they're like, oh yeah, that's exactly what we want you to come and do here, and you're already doing it, so this is amazing, kind of that brings that vibe compared to anybody else. And I think that's what I've learned here. When I build things and showed them, my interviews were like brilliant.
Right, that perfectly makes sense because I think 3 months ago when I was actually interviewing for like a company, that's what I tried to do. Like, even if I've not used that tool, I kind of said that this is what I did instead. So, yeah, maybe that's good advice.
Cool. All right, champs. Let's go ahead and oh, I'm looking at the 5 hour. Okay, that's cool. I see a lot of calls actually being booked. Of the people that's actually here right now, give me a second. Nishant, you still there?
I think I also see a quick question from Kiran. I don't know if he's here. We'll
Give me
respond
a
to
second.
it. Looks like he's dropped. Okay, never mind. It's all
Okay.
good.
What kind of AI questions are being asked?
Yeah, we already did that now. All good.
I mean, it's not so much an AI questions being asked, it's showing them like what's your technical competency with it.
Yeah.
But Nishant, are you still here? Nishant Sarang?
Yes, I'm here, Richard.
Cool. I see that you're actually on my calendar. You want to chat right
Yes.
now?
Sure. I mean, I'm good with that.
Let's do it. I'm gonna send you you're the NYU guy, right?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, let's go ahead and chat it up. Let me send you a Zoom link right there. Everybody else, thank you so much for showing up, and then I'll follow up. Who's coming to the happy hour on Thursday?
This is Ash. I'm coming.
You coming?
Yeah.
Are you coming? Let's